Let's make some noise. Come on.
Thank you, Nick Foles, Super Bowl MVP Nick Foles, for that rousing introduction. Yes, let's make some noise indeed. Welcome to the Hall of Fame Tuesday edition of The Final Word with MattyB here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. With your boy MattyB on the call on this frigid Tuesday evening. I don't know, I imagine hopefully somebody is watching this video or watching this show from a climate that is a little bit more acceptable than what I'm sitting in. And it's only going to get colder out there. So for those of you that are caught in the grip of this northeast type thing that we're all dealing with up here, please stay safe, stay warm, stay indoors, and put us on. You know, this is a perfect time to get caught up on all your It's a Wrap Sports viewing needs. Because I'm not going anywhere either. So we're going to be here together. We're going to see this thing through to the end. But yeah, no joke, man. It's cold. It's dangerously cold outside. And if you have pets, please, for the love of God, bring them in if you keep them outside. Welcome to the program tonight. I was hoping to come on here with a little bit more pleasant news, as the Baseball Hall of Fame voting did occur tonight. The class of 2026 has been announced. 2 players were voted in by the sports writers. 2. Carlos Beltran and Andrew Jones are now members of the Baseball Hall of Fame. Our boy Chase Utley, who was really looking good as of yesterday, he had like 69% of 50% of the ballots that were looked at, somehow fell off a cliff and did not get what he had to do, as he fell short by about 26%. Finished with 49% of the vote. It's up from 30. He went up 30 percentile points from last year. So that's the optimistic part. And hopefully, if all breaks right, Chase Utley will be a member of the class of 2027. I was really hoping that he would get in, but I guess in this week that's been what it has been for Philadelphia sports, yeah, Chase Utley's not going in. Jimmy Rollins did not do well at all either. I didn't get the chance to see all the tallies, but it is what it is. No Phillies are going in. Only 2 players made the 75% minimum. They'll join Jeff Kent, as he got into the commemorative committee earlier this winter. They had I don't remember who the Ford C. Frick Award winner was. I kind of tuned it out when I was stuck watching MLB Network for 2 hours. Not that I minded it. It's, it was a big lead up to a 2-player induction ceremony or 2-player announcement that they really, really, really drew out. I mean, I kind of had a feeling after they announced Beltran and then they went into Chipper, and it just seemed like a real, like if they had more players that go over than just 2, it would have been a little bit more, had a little bit more of a rhythm to it, and it didn't. It was just drawn out, and I was really concerned. I was hoping a 3rd player would be named, but not to be. Chase Utley did not make the cut. No Phillies made the cut tonight. So we'll put all of our eggs now in the 2027 Hall of Fame basket. Hopefully there's – man, what's it going to look like a year from now? Are we going to be embedded in a lockout a year from now? Is the baseball season in jeopardy of not even happening a year from now? Oh, God, I hate labor stuff. I do. Adam checks in. What's going on, Adam? How you doing? I'm doing well. Good to see you. Good to see you back here tonight. So on the show tonight, again, I had this whole thing set up for Chase Utley. I'm not going to obviously do it, but we're going to get into some more baseball talk. Dave Dombrowski, Rob Thompson took some questions, or Dave Dombrowski took some questions via Zoom today from the assembled Philadelphia sports media, the baseball people. Kind of asked him some questions. And, he was obviously the topic of Bo Bichette was brought up. We're going to get into what Dave said. And the optics of what Dave said versus the reality of what Dave said as we get closer and closer to the start of spring training here on the Phillies front. The Eagles, I guess no one's real. Are we still picking the carcass of this Eagles situation? Have we let that go? Last night on the program, we graded the 2023 draft class. I put up the results on our social media page a few hours ago. I believe it turned out that out of the 7 players drafted in 2023, we ascertained that 4 of them were busts and 3 of them were hits. It turned out to be about a 42% hit rate and a 57% bust rate. So overall, you got to say that the class of 2023 was a failure overall. Now, of course, Jalen Carter was part of that class. He's an immense hit, but after you kind of go down the list, it kind of loses steam quick. So we kind of started our off season here on the network as we're moving forward. No offensive coordinator yet. And then, the question about who is going to be the next Eagles offensive coordinator. People are putting in their 2 cents worth like it's going out of style. Like anybody out there knows what the hell they're talking about when it comes to an offensive coordinator. And, I don't want this guy because of this style. I don't want this guy because of this style. I don't want this guy because he's going to bring in his own people. There's one major blockade that I don't think no one's talking about, or we're afraid to talk about, or it's not a sexy topic. It should be. And that topic, of course, is how is this offensive coordinator, no matter who he is, going to work with the quarterback? And no one's talking about that. We're just going into this person's background as a play call, or this person's background as an offensive mind, and we're pulling out our choices based on that. Nobody's looking at how the relationship between the play caller and the quarterback are going to be. And I think it's a critical aspect of this that is going to, and again, it really boils down to the way the quarterback is bought in. The autonomy part, it is what it is. Does anybody really think Nick Sirianni is in control of anything with this football team? I'm not really worried about any of that. I don't care about Nick Sirianni's influence at all. I'm concerned about the relationship that the new offensive coordinator is going to have with the quarterback. That to me is my number one concern, and it's not being talked about at all. It's being glanced over or glossed over like it's no big thing. It's critical here, and I think it's pass or fail. Everyone's all over AJ Brown for being a diva and a prima donna, quitting, whatever. Asking for trades now apparently since early as week 3, over a couple times over the season. But we're not talking about Jalen Hurts and the toxicity that he allegedly exudes out of that locker room. Why not? Why is the Jalen Hurts leaks not coming out? They've leaked out. Why are they not being picked up and run with? I'm not saying A.J. Brown's not a problem, but I'm also saying that Jalen Hurts is probably more of a problem than people are giving him credit for. So with all that being said, I understand it's an exciting time. It's still sort of a painful time for a lot of Eagles fans as they're coming to grips with everything that happened. And we're looking at the offensive coordinator, but it could be Joe Blow off the street for all I care. I mean, what the hell do I know? Right? I'm not in a position to make any kind of suggestions to who the hell offensive coordinator is going to be, because I don't know how this person is going to work with the quarterback, because that's what it really boils down to. I don't care what scheme they run. I don't care what kind of exotic formations they have or don't have, or how often they use RPOs. I don't care about any of that crap. It's whether or not he will be able to communicate and get a buy-in from Jalen Hurts. That's the bottom line. It could be anybody. It could be the worst play caller on the planet. If him and Jalen are like Pizzos, they're probably going to be successful. It could be the best play caller on the planet. Him and Jalen Hurts aren't connected, and one doesn't respect the other, or they don't respect each other. We're not going anywhere. So I think that's a key element to this whole process nobody is really talking about. And maybe we'll get into some of that tonight on the program. Cole Hamels, 23.8%. Jimmy Ryan. Yeah, and that's pretty actually pretty acceptable. Everyone's earned their opportunity to return their Adam next year on the ballot, and that's positive. I really believe that next year will be the year. Maybe we'll have multiple Phillies next year. Maybe Bobby Abreu trends to the upper echelon and gets in. But 2 players, man. 2 friggin' players? That's all that made the cut. Jesus Christ. And one of them was openly involved in the damn Trashgate thing. The Astros cheating scandal against the Dodgers in the World Series. Beltran. He was admittedly involved in it. Who's bringing a trash can to Cooperstown on July 26th? Who's going to bring big old metal trash cans out there in that field? I know that field well. It's located about maybe a mile and a half away from the Hall of Fame. There's a big, it's not a it's like a YMCA type of building that's sitting there, and then it's got this huge open field, and behind it, it's a high school, and that's where they do their ceremonies. I know it well. I've been on that field multiple times. Who's bringing out a trash can out there? That's real fans right there. Anybody who brings a trash can to Carlos Beltran's inauguration speech on July 26th is okay by me. But he got in. Andrew Jones gets in. Yeah, both. I mean, listen, as players go, they both are well deserving of it. Absolutely. But, they mentioned part of the voting process is judging character and sportsmanship. Well, I don't know, man. Being involved in one of the major cheating scandals in Major League Baseball history, openly involved in it, I don't know where does that come? Where does that grade out in the character and the sportsmanship column? I mean, I don't know. Call me, stingy about it. I maybe I'm too hard. I don't know. Maybe I'm too unyielding when it comes to that stuff. But yeah, only 2 players got in. Joe Hale says, "What's up, Joe?" Hey, by the way, Joe, I passed along on our social media platforms. Ricky, if you're watching, Ricky Deal. Again, I don't know what the deal is. Why Ricky can't get Wi-Fi in the hospital. But if Ricky, you're watching, our thoughts and prayers are with you as you recover from surgery. Any updates, Joe Hale, that you would like to provide? That'd be great tonight and how he's doing. But I send out well wishes from the entire network today to our number one contributor. I mean, Ricky Deal is, come hell or high water, Ricky Deal is here inside these studios watching just about every show we do. And he's not alone, but I mean, Ricky is out there. It's way out there on his own. So I wish Ricky all the best. Yeah, Papernick, I agree. Great. A deal, not feel. We got you. All right. So tonight we're going to get into some. So again, as I said, we graded the 2023 draft class last night. 4 busts, 3 hits. The busts were Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith at 30 overall, first round selection is a bust. He has not produced first round quality work over the last 3 years. He's a bust. We busted out Tyler Steen. We busted out Keely Ringo, and we busted out Sidney Brown. For the hits, it was Jalen Carter, hands down. Tanner McKee in the 6th round, the production you got from a 6th round draft pick. Hell of the production. The fact that he's stuck on the team for 3 years as a 6th round draft pick is testament enough to his hit status. But Tanner McKee was a hit, and then Moro Jomo as a 7th round defensive tackle. Absolutely a hit. A main member of the rotational defense that the Eagles run over the last 3 years. So 3 hits and 4 busts. The hit rate was about 42%, and the bust rate was 57%. So the class of 2023 has been officially deemed by MattyB as a failure. As a failure, it is. By the grading standpoints. I mean, I'm not making numbers up. Now we're going to turn our attention to the Eagles. Not tonight, but this is going to be sort of a segment as we go forward into the show, into the winter. We're going to take a position group, and we're going to talk top storylines from that position group and sort of kind of dissect what we're going to do with that position group as we move forward into the off season. As we move into the off season. So we'll probably start that next week. We'll probably get that going, and we'll do one position group a week. I will bring the trash can. Do it, Adam. I'm telling you, if there's any fans out there that really want to earn points with MattyB, go to Cooperstown, New York on July 26th, 2026. Is it July 20? That's Saturday, whatever that Saturday falls on. Carlos Beltran's is his initiation into the Hall of Fame, his speech, his day that he gets in, and bring a big old metal trash can and just stand next to it. And then when you clap, instead of clapping, just bang the lid against the trash can. I'm telling you, man, you will earn massive points. And I know there will be I know someone's going to try to do it, and they're going to be confiscating trash cans as you're trying to enter the facility or enter the field there. But I'm telling you, man, you would earn massive points with me if you did that. I'd love you forever. But we'll talk about Chase Utley's disappointment tonight. Another shot in the heart for Phillies fans. Chase Utley did not get into the Hall of Fame. 59, I think, 0.1% of the vote. 75% is needed. Year 4 next year, here's crossing our fingers that Chase Utley gets in. I really thought he was going to get in, man. I had all kinds of stuff lined up for tonight in order to honor Chase Utley. Does Utley get in next year? Well, he finished 3rd, right? The first 2 guys, the top 2 are the ones who got in, and then Chase Utley was next. So he was the highest one who didn't get in. So I guess you would say out of that, yeah, he does get in. Now, I haven't looked. I should have probably looked before I come in on the air. I don't know what first-time players are going to be added to the 2027 list. I don't know anybody sexy's out there for that. But I would think that Chase Utley, I mean, there's no guarantee. I hope he does. You only get 10 years. You only get 10 years, man, and then you're off the ballot. So this will be year 4 for him. I hope he gets in. And I hope other Phillies get in. As Adam told us a little bit earlier, he sort of sent out the final numbers here. You know, this is pretty decent. You know, Cole Hamels first year on the ballot, 23.8%. Jimmy Rollins' second year, 25.8%. I think Bobby Abreu it's like his 6th, 30.8%. So these are solid numbers by the Phillies, man. You know, I feel confident that sooner than later we'll be celebrating a Hall of Fame trip to Cooperstown. And for a player that's going in, you know, I know Dick Allen went in last year. I was there for that. I attended that ceremony. Rightfully so, deservedly so, long overdue. But you know, he's dead, and I you know, I know he can't help that, but you know, I was there in '95 with Schmidt and Ashburn, one of the greatest days of my life, watching them 2 get in at the same time. I want to relive that. It was Philadelphia and Cooperstown, New York. For those of you that were there that weekend, everywhere you looked, all the cars, Pennsylvania license plates, Phillies colors everywhere. The city was taken over by Philadelphia, or the village. I want that again. And I want as many Phillies to go in at the same time as we possibly can. So the answer to your question is Joe Hale. I hope so. So we'll talk a little bit about Dave Dombrowski tonight. Had a little bit of a 14-minute presser today with the media, and we'll get into some of that. We'll talk about our day in Philadelphia sports history, our Of the Night segment. We got a twofer of the Of the Night segment tonight. We're going to do NHL draft targets as well as another Philly spotlight player. We're getting into that now. You know, we're going to start getting things through with that because Dombrowski doubled down again today and said we're pretty much set here. This is pretty much it. But so we're going to try to get through some of these spotlight players now. And then whatever else you want to talk about, the phone lines will be open here in a matter of seconds. I will get, as soon as I do my day in Philadelphia sports history, I will open up the phone lines. So anything that you want to bring to bear on the conversation is great. The floor is yours. So let's get it going with our Of the Night segment. Let's strap in, strap on, strap up. Keep your head, hands, and feet inside the car at all times. And here we go. On this day back in 1983, 1983, I was 10. No matter that Darryl Sittler garnered most of his NHL points donning the Toronto Maple Leafs blue and white. On this day, during his first full season with the Flyers, Sittler scored his 1,000th career NHL point. Sittler's second period goal in the Flyers' 5-2 victory over the Calgary Flames netted Sittler the career mark, making him just the second player in franchise history to score his 1,000th point with the team. Bobby Clarke the other, and the 17th player in NHL history to reach that milestone. Yes, I get it. Darryl Sittler is not synonymous with the Flyers. He was synonymous with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And, you know, garnering your 1,000th career NHL point, regardless if it was with the Flyers his entire career or just when he joined the team, doesn't really matter. It's a hell of an achievement. But, yes, Bobby Clarke's is a little different because he did it all with the Flyers. But to have a player go to 1,000 points in his career is just an amazing accomplishment. So, on this night, 1983, kind of a dead night in Philadelphia sports history, as we're talking about Darryl Sittler's 1,000th NHL point, but it happened on this night in 1983, and that was your day in Philadelphia sports history. Brought to you by the It's a Wrap Sports Network, and here you go. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm going to show it to you now. It's our schedule. Tonight, Pittsburgh Sports Tonight earlier, props, locks, and parlays right before me, and then the final word right now. Tomorrow, the Pittsburgh Sports Desk. I'm back at the final word, and I will also be back later on to give you some Flyers Mammoth postgame. Thursday, the Gridiron Weekly and me. Friday is the Philly Friday Frenzy and me, Clear the Ice Flyers and the Cavaliers, the Avalanche. Saturday is the best of the It's a Wrap Sports Network for the week. If you missed the program the first time, don't worry. Starting at 8 a.m. on Saturday, you can see it again as we'll replay every show from the week that was. And then on Sunday, the Philly AM Sports Show at 9, and then I will wrap your Sunday up at 9 o'clock with the final words. So there you have it. That's our schedule in a glance here this week on the network. Please, please, please help us out. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a neighbor, and help us grow. I think we're up to 230 on YouTube. I'm very happy about that. Thank you. From the bottom of my black, dying heart, I definitely appreciate that. More than you'll ever know. You have no idea. I wake up every morning looking at the numbers. Not really, but it's great to see. All right. Phone lines are open. The link is now shooting into your whatever platform it is you're watching this from. The link to come onto the show has now been stuck in there. Actually, I only have one link showing up. So far, it's just the YouTube link, I guess. But anyway, I'll do it again if it doesn't work. Ricky has Wi-Fi. His mom says the post, and his mom saw the post and said, thank you. Great. I'm glad. I'm glad she did. And tell Ricky again, we're thinking of him here on the network. Let me try this again, man. What's going on here? Why did it only go out to one place? Let's try it again. I want to send out the link again. Yeah, it's only going to YouTube. What is up, Chuck? All right, well, we'll figure that out. Joe Hell. So Ricky's doing good?
Yes. They took him off the ventilator today.
Awesome.
And they redid all the tubes. He has pneumonia. That's the only thing. That's why he's not out of hospital now.
Okay, but things look like they're going to be okay.
Yes. And he has Wi-Fi. He was hospitals don't have Wi-Fi. I want to talk about Dombrowski, what he said about Justin Crawford and Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
Saying that he's going to be the everyday center fielder.
So are you talking about the Freudian slip Thompson had and then he backtracked and said something different? Are you talking about that part of the interview?
Yes.
Yeah, I found it very interesting too. But for those of you that missed it, I'll recap it. So when they were interviewing Rob Thompson, I think it was a separate interview away from what Dave Dombrowski was doing. But Thompson, when cornered about how do you feel that the fans think that you're running it back, he kind of went into the three pitchers added to the bullpen and the opportunity for some young players to play. He said Justin Crawford's going to play, and then he stopped and said well, he's going to get every chance to play for this team this year. I found it very interesting too, Joe. Very interesting. But listen, Joe, I'm okay with it. Honestly, am. I want Justin Crawford to play.
I like your left fielder. Your new left fielder besides Mark.
Who's that?
Out of Kemp.
I don't think. We'll platoon all over the place. Kemp's not going to be married to left field. He's going to pop up. He's going to come off the bench. You know, in order to to sign JT, which they did officially today, they had to designate Weston Wilson. Did you know that?
I'm glad. I don't like Wilson.
Yeah, he's been DFA'd. So we'll see what happens to him. See if he goes through waivers and makes it back to the Phillies.
But if they release Castellanos, does Verconis get called up?
Well, I mean, Garcia is the heir apparent to Nick Castellanos. Verconis is going to get an opportunity, hopefully in spring, to prove himself if he wins a job out of camp. I mean, what are you going to do there? But
put him on the bench.
Yeah, well, yeah. But I want to throw this back at you. And it's a valid point. Are you going to call a player up from AAA hot, coming off a good spring? He made the team out of camp, and you're going to stick him on the bench? Should that player have to play every day?
Yes.
But so you got a little issue there.
Garcia's position.
Yeah.
And I'm going to see some breaking news. The Chargers just hired Mike McDaniels. as the offensive coordinator.
So the Chargers are now looking for an OC.
The Chargers just hired McDaniel.
Hi, I was going to say, what? So he's going to go and hang out with Jim Harbaugh, huh? Or John Harbaugh. Which one is it? Jim Harbaugh?
Yeah, because John Harbaugh's in Baltimore.
Well, again, like I want to ask you this, like I kind of led into. I know people want their guy. I understand. You look at certain offensive people, and you see kind of offenses they run. But Joe, if you can have the greatest offensive mind in the world, if they don't get along with Jalen Hurts, or if Jalen Hurts is not buying into it, it's not going to really matter, right?
Exactly. And the former coach interviewed today. The Giants.
The former who?
Brian. I can't pronounce his name. The Giants head coach interviewed today.
Dable.
Yes, and it was in Philly.
Okay.
But a lot of people are saying, would you hire Buffalo's offensive coordinator?
Again, this guy's going to go from working with Josh Allen to Jalen Hurts. I would, but is it going to work? That's the question. A
lot of people on the radio today want Alanis.
Yeah, I saw that. I've been hearing that guy's name. He interviewed a couple days ago, right? He's already interviewed.
Yes, he's actually.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like the name.
Well, the Eagles have said that they want, just like what Dombrowski said at the end of the season, he wants a bench coach with MLB managing experience. I think the Eagles are really looking at getting an offensive coordinator that they could plug and play as a head coach. I'm not that I'm saying that something could happen, but they want someone that's had that experience. So it's probably going to be Brian Dable.
Go after Sean McDermott. Make the fucking call.
Sean McDermott's a defensive guy.
Well, is he? Because he was the head coach in Buffalo.
I get that. I get that, but he's a defensive guy. I mean, and would you take the demotion? You've just ran the gauntlet for 9 years with Buffalo. You led them back. You built that franchise back to a viable franchise. You've won divisions. You've come within a whisper of making the Super Bowl. Then you're going to come to Philadelphia and become the offensive coordinator under Nick Sirianni. I don't know, man.
He started in Philadelphia. That's what nobody gets.
No, yeah, that was a bazillion years ago, and then the Eagles fired his ass.
Unless he goes to the one job that everybody wants, and that's Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh is still out there. Yep. So is the Raiders.
Nobody's getting the Raiders.
They might not have a head coach. They may go with no head coach this year. It's a shame. Absolute shame what's going on with that once proud franchise. All right, Joe, what else, man? You want to toss some Flyers real quick?
No, Sixers suck. They just lost.
They lost tonight. Yeah. Flyers won last night. It was a good win, man. It was a quality win. Character building win.
Why is it connected to captain?
Because John Tortorella and Danny Briere, well, I should say Danny Briere names Couturier the captain, but I feel your pain. I would hope that this is it with Sean Couturier. We don't have to endure another year. He has completely fallen off the cliff. He's providing nothing on the ice. I'm sure he's providing leadership and mentorship behind the scenes, what a captain's supposed to do, but he is completely gone. He's not even relevant on the ice anymore. It's time to move on, but that contract, they're going to have to suck up that contract, and no one's taking him. So
what the Phillies want to do with Nick Castellanos? Cut it?
That's what the Phillies are talking about doing. They're so desperate to get rid of this guy. They just want someone to take a little bit of the just $1 million. Come on. Just take $1 million of it, and we'll eat the rest. We're so desperate.
I'll let you go. Who starts in goal tomorrow?
What's it against Utah? I'll go with Kovacev. No, I'll go with Kovacev. I want my best goalie ready for Saturday or Friday against Colorado.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
All right, Joe Hale. See you tomorrow. My man, Joe Hale. Interesting that Joe brought up the Dombrowski thing. And it was interesting he brought up the Thompson thing, too. So Rob Thompson was asked by a reporter, which, again, I got to give kudos. There were some really interesting questions asked today of both Thompson and Dombrowski by the Philadelphia media, which is something I'm not used to giving them credit for anything. But the question was asked of Thompson about how do you feel about the narrative that you guys are running it back? And he mentioned the three relievers He said they've turned over 20 to 25% of their roster. And he acted clueless to what he acted like he had never heard the phrase running it back before, which, come on, Rob, how dumb do you think we are? But he mentioned that he added 3 new relievers and that they got a new right fielder. Of course, they still have the old one on the team. They didn't mention that. And he mentioned that Justin Crawford will play. Now, as soon as he said play, he stopped himself, backtracked, and said, we'll get every opportunity to play for the Phillies in 2026. I don't know if I'm excited about the fact that Justin Crawford is going to get his opportunity, or I'm a little concerned that they're going to give him the opportunity without seeing him working with the big club in spring. Because there's truth in what he said, both things that he said, that the Phillies obviously, and are the Phillies going with Crawford because of necessity, that the guy's earned his opportunity, or because we got no other options right now? It's Justin Crawford or bust. He's got to play regardless of what he does. So I don't know how I take all that. I get he was trying to be coy. Rob was trying to act smart. Rob, it's not a good look on you, man. It really doesn't work well because you just screwed it all up. You created all kinds of other issues. And Dombrowski, when asked about the same thing, kind of said the same thing about the relief pitchers and wanting to kind of get better, but being okay with the club they got. Of course, I wanted someone to ask the very biting question. You obviously don't want Alec Boehm anymore because you literally came within a cat's whisper of signing his replacement, and it fell through. What about Alec Boehm? Because now Alec Boehm's coming back into a situation that he knows straight up they don't want him anymore. But there's no talk about Alec Boehm. No questions were really asked specifically about Boehm in this little presser that I heard. Now, I know there's always the option of them trying to move Boehm before spring training or during spring training. But there's no way you're going to sell me on the fact that Alec Boehm should be part of the Phillies in 2026, or Nick Castellanos, that fact. So the Phillies, by the two outstanding, these situations are not resolved. And if they go into camp with these two players on their team, I'm going to lose a lot of confidence in the Phillies. Because as a man, if I'm not wanted, then I'm not coming in. Or if I'm going to come in, I'm going to act like the biggest child there is. I'm going to be holding my breath, stomping my feet. I'm going to question everything. I'm going to defy everything. I'm going to throw tantrums at every turn of the corner because you don't want me here. I don't want to be here. Behind closed doors, of course. I wouldn't do any of this on the field, but I do it behind closed doors. So the Phillies have, as much as you want to listen to Dave Dombrowski say we're set and everything is great, that's a lie. They're not set. They got to resolve the Alec Boehm, Nick Castellanos problem before the team gets to Clearwater. They cannot go there under this current conscript. And if they do, it's disaster. And I would lose a lot of confidence in the Phillies in that aspect. Adam asked, they need to bring Crawford up during spring training and get him comfortable to play in the big leagues. Well, he is going to be part of the team in spring training. I expect him. And by the way, if you listen to Rob Thompson today, Adam, it doesn't matter if Crawford's out there hanging out in the tiki bar in left field during spring training. He's made the team already. He's going to play. They backtracked and said, he's going to get the chance to play. No, there's no doubt Crawford will take every game at the big league level during spring training. That's not a question. But Rob Thompson sort of kind of showed his hand there, and I ain't digging that. Ain't digging that at all. Hello, Michael Papernick. How are you?
Yo, what up, Matty? So to piggyback off Joe Hale with Mike McDaniel's thing is, if you've seen the job when he turned down the Browns job, which he said he put out there, he was only for the Chargers and the Bucks. He didn't want to he wanted to stay where it was warm.
Yeah.
He didn't want nothing to do with any of the cold weather for 8 games a year.
He wants to wear shorts at least 12 games out of the year. Yeah, I mean.
Now, I saw something on the Edge of Philly Sports they put on there, and they said, What about if you sign Marte or Hoskins as a platoon for left field? No.
Okay, first off, listen, Joey Sheeran at EOP is an idiot, an absolute idiot.
Yeah,
He's a buffoon. He's worse than Rob Thompson. All right.
Now here's the thing:
Reese Hoskins or old man Marte? No.
Framber, what's his name? Framber Val, whatever it is, the Houston lefty. Yeah. He's out there. Now the Phillies. If this guy stretches out, the Phillies could swoop in, maybe get a 1-year deal out of him.
Yeah, maybe. There's a bunch of free agents hanging. Winkler's still out there. There's a bunch of guys still out there. The Phillies can't be done. They gotta make some more moves, man. Yeah. I mean, they can't be done.
That moron saying what he said. We're content where we're at. Okay, yeah. Winkler. Now you know why I like Winkler. He brings an attitude.
Yeah.
And that's what the Phillies. If you look at this team seriously, they have no personality on this team, unless Harper's pounding his chest. Now they don't really. Now to go back to Baum, what you were saying with Baum and Castellanos. I think the thing with Baum is I understand they try to trade him, but if they were going to get Bichette, he was going to first base. That's what that was the plan, because there's nobody taking Baum, so he was going to go to first base. And people forget this is the contract year for him too. And was it you? Did you? Yeah, because he's I think he's a free agent after this year.
He is an unrestricted free agent after 26. Yep.
So was it? I think it might have been on you. Who posted? I saw something posted that had Bichette and Baum's numbers next to each other. I don't know. I saw something on Facebook with it.
Yeah, that wasn't me.
Okay. Listen, so I saw something.
Go ahead. And
their numbers weren't really much different in the sense. Alex Baum is a single double hitter. He's not going to give you the 35. And is he a great third baseman? No, he should have been your first baseman. He's 6'6". Why is he playing third base? Listen,
Alec Bohm. Okay, first of all, I blame some of the stuff on the Phillies with Bohm not putting him in the proper spot in the lineup. And no planet should Bohm ever be batting fourth on any baseball team, or fifth, or sixth. It's 2 or 7. He's a 2 or 7 hole hitter. That's all he is, and that's a good spot for him because he's a contact hitter. But the other part of Bohm, and you mentioned the numbers back side to side with Bichette. Yeah, it might compare and average out at the end, but Bohm goes into these maddening streaks of ineptitude for 40 at bats where he's 3 for 37, and it happens throughout ebbs and flows of the season. I know people are not consistent all year, but Bohm seems, when he hits the skids, man, he hits them hard, and for a very long period of time every single season. I agree. Listen, if we're stuck with Bohm, it's not that bad, but all the other stuff, I effing hated here. He jumped on with Castellanos last year in the playoffs by saying when the fans boo, it does affect us negatively. And then the openness of the team to get rid of this guy. They clearly don't want him. And yet we're going to bring him back. The optics are wrong. He needs another start. Bohm's career is not over by a stretch. And he'll probably go somewhere and bat 330, batting in the 2 hole for somebody, drive in 107 runs, and become a natural hitter. That's fine, but it's not going to happen here. Too much has happened, Papernick. Too much has happened here.
Do you think him going in long stretches is because he's batting fourth too?
You're damn right. I do. You're damn right. Rob Thompson. I've grown up playing baseball. I grew up watching baseball. I'm in baseball now. I don't remember ever, above the youth level, of course, where you get promoted within the lineup for hitting well. You should be in the lineup batting where you're at because that's the natural type of profile of hitter you are. You don't work your way up from 8 to leadoff, unless, of course, it's a difference where you're a brand new player like Crawford, because Crawford should grade out to be a leadoff hitter at some point. But you don't get promoted up through the lineup because you're hitting well, and that's what Rob has done. Stott will bat 300, batting down into 7 hole. Then they move him up to leadoff, and he's batting 210, and they wonder why. I mean, I don't understand. I don't, Papernick. Please help me out. When do you get promoted within the lineup for batting well?
Only in Robbie's world. That's it. Only Robbie's world. Schmidt. It's like leading Mike Schmidt off.
oh, look at that. He's batting 400 in the cleanoff spot. Let's lead him off because he's so red hot right now. No, he's batting 4. He's hitting that way because that's the kind of hitter he's at. He's the kind of pitches he's seeing at that spot in the lineup, and they suit him. Has baseball completely gone off the cliff, Pierre Papernick, or am I crazy? Am I?
No, it's going off. It's going off because Pete Rose wouldn't even lead off for any team. They probably have him batting 8th, 7th, 8th or 9th in the lineup.
Yes.
But Alec Baum, so the knock on Crawford, what? He's a singles, double hitter?
He's a ground ball hitter.
Well, ain't that what Baum kind of, I mean, he's kind of not much different than that. Yeah. So that's what you need in the lineup, but not at 4.
Yeah. No.
Now, okay. No. Now I didn't see the press conference, and I didn't have to. I just saw the headline on the thing about him saying they're content. You didn't have to tell me anything about Robbie because what falls out of his mouth don't. But to say that this kid should be your center fielder, that's it. Bottom line. And you want to know what? I'll say this. I'd rather have Nick Castellanos run around left field than Marsh in the lineup.
Yeah.
Because here's what's going to happen. Who's going to be – who's going to be your backup center fielder? Rojas. That just made your bench even worse. I'd rather have Marsh on the bench.
So I don't know how the bench – I don't know how the bench is going to grade out. They had a DFA Weston Wilson today to make room for JT on the 40-man roster. So Wilson's DFA'd. I don't know if he's going to make it through waivers. He probably won't. Someone's probably going to claim him. But right now the bench kind of –
he ain't good.
Yeah, no, he's not. But for some odd reason, they love him. Here's how the bench to me looks right now. You got Marchand, you got Sosa, you got Kemp, and you got Marsh. That's your bench, right? I mean,
Marsh is starting, ain't he? If Castellanos is gone, he's your starting left fielder.
Well, I'm assuming he's not going to be gone. So yeah, all right. So okay, we'll put Marsh in left. So we got Marchand, Sosa, Kemp. And then you gotta have a fourth guy, right? Now, Otto Kemp, I believe, is going to go everywhere on the diamond. He's going to play every position this year. They're going to move in the infield. He's going to play the outfield. He's going to go everywhere. The fourth guy on that bench, I hope, is Gabe Raconis Jr. I really hope he earns that spot coming out of camp. But I don't want him sitting on the bench. I want him to start. He's got to start. He's a young player. You got to give him that opportunity. And I know the Phillies are going to look at it like, well, he had a great camp, but there's no spot on him to start and play every day, so he's going to go back down to AAA. But that's not going to do him any good. He needs to come to the majors and help out this team. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
Did Bellinger get signed? Did Cody Bellinger sign?
Not yet.
Now, here's a lineup. Now, think about this lineup, right? Turner first. Schwarber's going to bat second. Harper third. Garcia fourth, Bellinger fifth, and Bellinger's your left fielder.
Okay, JT sixth.
Well, you could do JT or Baum. One of them's got to be sixth.
And then Baum seventh, Marsh eighth,
and then you
ninth.
go. Well, no, Marsh wouldn't be in the lineup. Be Stott and Crawford.
Stott eight. Okay.
Yeah, that top 5 would be decent, but. That's a panic move, just like the Mets did with Bichette. Giving him all that money, he can be gone after 1 year. Now, I want to get to the Eagles. So I just seen this. I was reading this thing where it said the Eagles offensive coordinator kind of rumor tracker. So this is a quote from Nick Sirianni. Sirianni said it was too early to know exactly. He's talking about the offensive coordinators they all interviewed. How things would be structured because there's a variety of candidates they'll consider, but said there wouldn't be any interference. This is when about autonomy. Now, does that sound like he's like playing the fence there? They got to figure out how the structure is going to be, but there won't be any interference.
Yeah, that's trying to beg people to come here because people are concerned about coming here for a myriad of reasons. And the interaction between Nick Sirianni, think about it, Papernick. You're Brian Dable, all right? You're a former head coach, regardless if you were successful or not successful. You've seen Nick Sirianni. You've gone against him throughout your career as a coach, and now you're going to have to go and be his underling. I wouldn't be thrilled about that either. So they got to make the job sound a little bit better. They got to grease the skids, so to speak, to get people in the door, I guess. But you're right. It doesn't sound too. Yeah. And again, I'm going to ask you this, Pepper. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
All these great candidates, all these great offensive minds. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all if they cannot get along with Jalen Hurts, right?
No, that's 100% facts. We all know that. That's why I said the other night. I think Jalen's got another year here. I think Howie, because it's supposedly 2 years or something. I think Howie would bite the bullet on him or something. Next year, after next year. I think. I don't think they'll drag it out for 2 years, or they'll draft a quarterback. Next year. Either this year or next year, and put the pressure on Jalen. I would draft a quarterback this year and put the pressure on Jalen. I would.
There's any decent quarterbacks out there. This year's draft class sucks for quarterbacks. Terrible.
Yeah, these guys. Oh, that's what I want to get with you, man. So listen, the number one in the NFC East is John Harbaugh, best coach in the East. Number 2, Schottenheimer from the Cowboys. Well, you can put Quinn or Sirianni. Don't make any difference who's 3 or 4. I mean,
I agree. I agree with you.
I mean, it's bad. If I was Brian Dable, this is exactly what I would do. I would call Howie up. Say, I want to just have the interview. You and Jeffrey Lurie. I don't want him in there. I answer to yous only, and that's it. I ain't answering to him. I get full autonomy.
I mean, Harbaugh got this. That's the deal Harbaugh got with the owner. Harbaugh said, I answer to the owner directly. That's in my contract. I don't answer to GM. I answer to the owner directly. That's all I'm talking about.
Well, listen. If you're paying me $20 million, I ain't talking to the GM. I'm talking right to the owner. If I'm making moves, I mean, listen. John can say whatever he wanted. He did not go there because he wanted to go to New York.
No, they wanted him bad.
That $20 million plus a year got put him there. Now Buffalo. Now the Eagles better get Dable because he's good. I heard Buffalo's interested in him.
Mike Kaepernick, who becomes the new head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders?
Las Vegas Raiders.
There, man. Who's going? Does Kevin Patullo become the new head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders?
Cliff Kingsbury?
Yeah, maybe. Would you take it? Would you take that job?
Well, I mean, it depends. If they give me if they give me $6-7 million a year,
job. Yeah, taking it, man. It's not the sexy job, but
I'm taking it for one reason: gain experience and get a fat paycheck. That's it. There ain't nothing else you're going to gain out there unless you get lucky. That's it. Yeah,
no, you're right. But and playing in that facility in that town, it's probably an experience in itself being out there. But you're right. You ain't gonna learn. You ain't winning anything. So you just get some personal reps in, and then move on down the line in a couple of years.
There is a but. They do have the number 1 pick, and supposedly I think they have the most money to spend.
They do. They are cap fluid. They have a lot of money. They could get better in 1 year.
And the Cardinals job, remember the Cardinals job's open too. Now I'm going to leave you. I'm going to leave it with this. I'm going to end with this, Matty.
Yep.
I hope the Seattle Seahawks win the Super Bowl this year. I want Sam Darnold. I want Sam Darnold to get his respect from the Jets, kicking him to the curb, going to San Francisco as a backup, going to Carolina, figuring it out in Minnesota, and all he's done is won 27, 28 games in 2 years. They just smoked the 49ers. I hope he wins and gets his respect because, man, I was so tired of hearing the other night them talk about the New England Patriots, how they're a dynasty again. I hope Seattle wins it all and Sam gets his respect this year.
I agree. It would definitely fall in line with the year of parity that the NFL has been in 25. Mike, thanks a lot for calling, Mike. I appreciate
you have a good night.
Tomorrow. Yep.
All right. Bye.
Mike. Very good points there. And I mentioned, I was thinking about that not too long ago about Sam Darnold. I think I said it last night. Adam says maybe nobody will come to get the job here, and they'll have to hire Kevin Patullo back. Listen, Adam, these are viable questions. I know Eagles fans want to think that the job of offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles is a sexy job. It's one of the more sought after positions. I don't think it is. I think there's been enough time that has elapsed as Nick Sirianni has been the head coach here. We'll be going into 21, 22, 23, 24. This is 5th year. Enough time has come and passed where some things have gone out there about what it's like to work with the Eagles under Nick Sirianni. And I'm not going to comment. I don't know, but we hear the leaks coming out every season about this, that, and the other thing. This guy's mad at this guy. This guy's throwing this guy under the bus. Nick Sirianni is running up down the sidelines yelling at fans. He needs his own personal bodyguard on the sidelines. Listen, as a head coach in the NFL, and I look over at the Eagles sideline and I see Nick Sirianni needing a bodyguard. I'm like, what is this clown, man? I mean, what are you if you need a security guard to stand with you? It's unprofessional looking, man. It's clown show. So I'm sure there's not all positive things being said about the Eagles organization from inside the NFL circles. And especially if they want a former head coach who's got a little skin in the game to come in, that person's going to want certain guarantees. He's going to want to set up the landscape for himself as he comes through the door. And I don't blame him. I would come in, and the first thing I would demand is I don't talk to that guy. He don't talk to me. I don't talk to him. I run my offense. He runs up and down the sidelines yelling at fans and takes his fat security guard with him. All that crap. But he leaves me alone completely. I am not going to get into a conversation in game with that buffoon about how to run a football team. And I don't blame these coordinators, these former head coaches that want that opportunity. And the problem is the Eagles are up against a situation where they can't afford to bring in a hot no-name to make a name for themselves because of what has already happened here. So they are kind of forced with going with the known commodity in terms of a former head coach or a former known offensive coordinator. Again, it's not as cut and dry. And it's funny because I fall victim to it as well, about, oh, well, just go out and get this guy or go out and offer this job to this guy, trade for this guy, sign this guy. And it's Philadelphia. They all want to come here. I fall victim to that too. But it's not that easy. People around certain circles don't want to come here for whatever reason. So, that's part of this that, I don't think we're thinking about. We're thinking that this job is the best in the world. So I don't think it's as cut as dry as a lot of people think it is. Mike McDaniel. He went to the Chargers. I mean, why would you not come here? A perennial NFC powerhouse in the Philadelphia Eagles. You have an opportunity to take the Eagles to the promised land and probably find your way back into a head coaching job sooner than later. No. Was it the problems with Jalen Hurts? He doesn't want to work with another Tua type quarterback. Doesn't want to have to wear pants. I mean, that might be something. Or deal with Nick Sirianni. I think there's more to that than we're giving it credence to. Again, looking at it from the outside in. So, as far as the edge of Philly sports, and I didn't see it. I don't go on their stuff anymore. But as far as the Nimrod, Joey Sheeran, putting out there that Reese Hoskins should be signed, as well as old man Starling Marte to come out here and to platoon out in left field. That's utterly ridiculous. That's a fanboy who doesn't know what he's talking about. Don't pay that any attention. Might be the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Absolutely the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. And this is coming from me. It's got to be stupid if it's coming from me. So I'm not even going to entertain that. Bring back Reese Hoskins. Are you friggin' crazy? Oh, my God. All right, let's get into the Of the Night segment. We're running late. Coming up on an hour. Good stuff. All right. Yeah, it's the other night. It's time. Lights, camera, action. We are going to do two things tonight for the other night. Two separate segments for the other night. NHL draft prospect and another Phillies spotlight player. Because like it or not, we can't stop this train from moving forward. We're getting, we're a day sooner now to getting to spring training, even though the Phillies still have work to do. As much as the owner, well, not the owner, but the president and the buffoon manager say they're done, there's still work to be done. You can't go into the season with Alec Bohm and Nick Castellanos on your team. You cannot do it. Too much has been done already. And I do have one last point about the Phillies we'll kind of wrap up with. But so let's get into the other night. First thing, we'll talk NHL draft. And here we go with our draft prospect of the night. Maybe the coolest name in the world, Alexander Command. That's it, man. Alexander Command, the centerman from the Örebro of the Swedish Hockey League, a 6'1", 185-pound centerman, known for his strong skating, vision, puck skills, and tenacious two-way play, showing significant offensive upside and a gritty NHL-ready edge, making him a potential first-round talent who is elevating his draft stock through strong performances in junior leagues and international tournaments, and not to mention has a great name to put on the back of a jersey. Command. I love it. So far through this season, Alexander has played in 22 games for Örebro, the U20 team. 13 goals, 19 assists, 32 points, and 28 penalty minutes. A little bit of maybe a first round reach at that size. Again, you know my concerns when it comes to European hockey players translating seamlessly to North American ice. It doesn't happen that often, or I should say it happens. The transition happens, but it's more of a labored process as they try to get used to the smaller rinks in terms of like the width and the faster paced game. Usually these types of players are used to being the fastest on the ice, and that's not the case when you're at this level. So they're a little bit more of a project, and getting them into a North American situation sooner rather than later is what you need to do. And that typically involves starting their ELC process very soon. And you only get 3 years on their first ELC. So I know teams try to hold on to those ELCs and they don't burn through them as fast as they possibly can. But for a player like him playing in Sweden, you got to get him over here quick. So it's a contract situation. I'm not saying it's a major problem because you get 3 ELC contracts or 3 entry contracts before you hit the open market. But you'll burn through that first one pretty quickly because you got to get him over here fast. You probably leave him out in Europe maybe next season, and then by 27, 28, he's got to come over to North America. I think he's a back portion of the first round type talent, and I think he could be well. Don't like his height, and he's got to get bigger in terms of put a little bit more weight on. 6'3", 200. There you go. Now we're working with something. Now we're working with something in the NHL, but definitely has the tools. Whether or not they translate over to the North American game is a whole other situation. But a back end first round talent indeed for Alexander Command. That's right, Command, the best name. I would buy a jersey just for the name on the back. It's an awesome name. And there's your NHL draft prospect of the night. Now let's get to our Philly spotlight. We started it last night with Adolis Garcia. Tonight we're going in with a little bit of a known Philly prospect. That's our boy Aaron Nola. Aaron Nola is our spotlight player of the night. A dreadful 2025 for Nola. 17 games started, a 5-10 record, an ERA over 6 for the season, 6.01. Only pitched 94 innings, 97 strikeouts, and had a whip of 1.35. The strikeouts were there. It was feast or famine with Nola. We already know Nola gives up home runs like they're going out of style, but they were really bad. He was bad. He was either getting people out by the strikeout or giving up home runs, it seemed, at one point. Multiple stints onto the IL for various reasons, an oblique problem, a core problem, sort of was kind of what they dwelled it down to or drilled it down to. Whether or not he's it seemed like he was getting better as the season wore on. He's starting to find himself in the playoffs. He had a pretty good start there or appearance in the playoffs. He pitched pretty well in the playoffs when given that opportunity. But a dreadful season for Nola. And it has to be fixed if the Phillies are going to be anything in 26. They got to have the pre-2025 Aaron Nola. Desperately need that. And we knew something was wrong with Nola from the very beginning last year. I mean, from his first start, he was rocked. Remember that Sunday game in Washington? The only game the Phillies lost in that series. Again, he gave up like 3 home runs in that game. And it just got worse from there. As I mentioned, multiple stints on the IL for Nola in 2025. So, like it or not, Nola is a key member of this pitching staff right now. I mean, he's a key member anyway, but when you don't have Zach Wheeler to start the season, you're definitely going to need Aaron Nola to be as best as he can possibly be in 2026. And there you have it. Our Philly Spotlight Player of the Night is Aaron Nola. Now, before we get to the card review, I do want to mention the Phillies one last time. And I know, again, I know there's a lot of anger right now for the Bo Bichette stuff. And I know there's a lot of people out there that feel that the Phillies are running it back. And I am one of them. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that right now, sitting on January 20th, I'm not going to tell you that I don't think they're running it back. I do. But it's January 20th. And here's what I hang on to. And here's what gets me to sleep at night, I guess, when it comes to the Phillies right now. I go back to Dave Dombrowski's exit press conference. And please, if you haven't seen it, I need you to watch it because it's key here. Dave is never upfront with anything. Dave will walk around the answer, will give you, matter of fact, will veer off the question completely and give you a totally different answer, one that you didn't even want or expect. But when asked last year about improving the club, and he says this every year, yes, we're obviously going to look at different ways to improve the club, right? But I want to remind everybody, heading into the offseason, what was the one known factor about the Phillies that we all knew? It was the money situation. The Phillies have an abundance of high-priced contracts on this team. So going out in free agency and making any sort of massive overhaul change to this team was going to be very difficult, if even possible. And yes, the situation with Kyle Schwarber, again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I was 100% on board with it. I wasn't. I would have much preferred that money to have gone somewhere else to another player, Pete Alonso specifically. I think he's more versatile to play defense. He can actually give you more. You can use it in a platoon situation. You can give Harper some time off as a DH. You can put him in. You can do a lot more things with Pete Alonso. But that ship has sailed. Then he's a right-handed bat. But that ship has sailed. So they used the one big move that they had on Kyle Schwarber. Very concerning indeed, because you had an opportunity to move off of one of the core pieces of this team to try to change it, and you obviously didn't do it. Then, of course, the JT Realmuto. We now know that that was their priority was to bring him back. There was no question that JT Realmuto was not going to be part of the Phillies in 2026. It was a matter of trying to figure out the contract. They couldn't get that done. And now we're hearing the years were right. The Phillies had offered JT 3 years from the beginning of this whole process. It was the money that was the issue. That was the stalemate. And then they went out for Bo Bichette, did not get him. They pivoted to Bo Bichette, which was completely off the radar for anybody. I don't care who you say you are, how in tune you are, unless you're Dave Dombrowski and Rob Thompson working in the front office. The whole Bo Bichette thing was a complete out of left field move, not expected by anybody. You could take that as a couple different things. One, they knew they had to replace Realmuto because they didn't think they could get that deal done. Right. And again, I hear you. I understand about the running back concept. It's terrible. Right. So they had to pivot off of that real quick. They had to go after Bichette in order to replace Realmuto. And it sort of kind of correlates in a roundabout way. Didn't work out. They ended up getting stuck with Realmuto or going back to Realmuto, giving him the extra money because now they really got to save face. Lost out on Bichette. Got to get JT back. Boom. Here we are. And here we sit, getting ready to start spring training. But I take you back to the press conference. I think I said this last night. When asked about the young players, Dave Dombrowski in the past has always sort of glossed over the situation by mentioning, yes, there's some players that need opportunities. I concur to that statement. This year, he mentioned them by name. And I take great stock in that, because I think my overarching sense for this team this year was to infuse some of these young players. I understand what the Phillies are. I know what they are. I know how they're built. I know the contract situation. To have a team completely pivot off of that in one offseason and try to stay competitive at the same time is damn near impossible. It is. It's extremely impossible. And we can argue about how we got here or how we got in this situation all day long. The bottom line is we're here. The bad contracts or long contracts, bad, long, whatever you want to say, Turner, Harper, Schwarber now, Real Mute. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. It is what it is. They got to stay competitive. They do. It's just a business sense. They got to stay competitive. So I resigned myself prior to the season ending by saying, you know what? They can still win with this core group of players, but they need a DNA change. And that DNA change is not going to come through free agency, because I don't think they had the opportunity and the money to go out and be big time players. And like, they would have had to have gone out and signed Alonso, Bichette, Bellinger, about 4 players in order to change the DNA through free agency. And they just weren't going to be able to do that. They don't have the money. But when he mentioned the young players by name, and when I say young players, I mean Miller, Crawford, Painter, and Raconis, and Kemp. He mentioned them all by name. To me, that was a signal that there is going to be an infusion of young talent. We already know Crawford's coming up. We already know Painter's going to have to be. Crawford and Painter both are going to have to be part of this team coming out of the gate. Aiden Miller is the future at third base. You signed Bichette to a 7-year contract. I go back to my original statement about Bichette. You sign him to a 7-year contract. You're trading Aiden Miller. There's just no way to keep him here. You're blocking his ass for 7 years, right? So now Aiden Miller is going to get an opportunity to play third at some point this season. I fully agree to that. Painter, Kemp, and Raconis. That's what I wanted. And I do believe, and I'm sitting here telling you I believe. Now, would I like them to go out and get Luis Ariz and get rid of Stott or Bohm? One of them two's got to go. Stott or Bohm's got to go. And it's probably going to be Bohm. Yeah, I would love for them to go out and do that. And they would make them a better team. Make them a little bit more balanced, a little bit more structured in the lineup. But if they don't, they don't. But if these young players get onto this team, and I think that as we go through 2026, these young players will become more and more the story of the Phillies. And as they round into form, eventually that is what is the DNA change that I was looking for, because I knew that they're not going to be able to do it through free agency. They weren't going to be able to do it through trades, because no one's taking contracts off our hands, and no one's taking these damn players like Bohm, who's got a tradable contract, only got 1 year left. Nobody wants Bohm. Stott, you could probably move, but they're not moving Stott. Not right now. So I knew the only way for them to really get better, or to change, not necessarily better, but to change, was through the use of their young players. And it looks like all signs are pointing that that's what we're finally going to get in 2026. Now, what is one of the things that we complain about consistently with this team? They don't develop players. They don't give the minor league players an opportunity to play. Well, it looks like that's going to happen in 2026. And that's fine by me. This Phillies team is not destined to end in last place. No, they're a playoff team. Are they an NL East champion? I don't know. Are they a world champion? No. Right now, I'll say that no. But we got a whole baseball season left to play. Haven't even begun yet. Things are going to change. Things are going to evolve. They may de-evolve and then evolve again. But things will change. And maybe we're singing a different tune by the end of the season. There's a couple things that you'll see that will point to the Phillies changing. And you'll know it when you see it. You will. I could get into those things right now, but I don't really want to waste all that time. But I'm okay with this team right now. I may be the only one out there, I'm okay with the Painters, the Crawfords, the Kemps, and hopefully the Raconis Juniors coming out of camp on this team. Dave Dombrowski mentioned these guys by name. He has never done that before. And he mentioned them by name ending up the season. I think there's something to that. And I think there's something there. And of course, Aiden Miller probably at some point during the season. So this Phillies team that starts the season may look drastically different from the team that ends the season. And that's a good thing because that's what we need. And that is the bottom line. That was the only way to change this team, was to infuse the young talent, because it was just too difficult with all the problems, the lack of catching depth in the organization that put them in a position to have to re-sign JT Realmuto, the decision to go back after Schwarber. But you can replace Schwarber's money with Alonso. The money's or the name's interchangeable, but the money is the same. I listen, I firmly believe that this team may be on to something this year. And again, this is coming from me, and I'm trying to be the positive one here, or the voice of reason. But putting the Phillies down before they even rise, I'm not doing that. I'm not. I'm going to let this thing play out, because I think my one core thing that I wanted to see happen this year, I think is going to happen. And that is the young players are going to get a chance to play. And that's overall, above all, what I've wanted. And it's going to happen. It looks like it. Whether or not they can play well and win, that's a whole other story. And whether or not Rob Thompson knows how to manage them, that's a completely other story. But Don Mattingly is here. So, and that was another one of my predictions. Don Mattingly would be the new bench coach. I mean, maybe I need to go in the build. Maybe I need to become a president of baseball operations for somebody, because the Phillies are following my playbook. Everything that I wanted this to be is working out. I didn't want Bo Bichette. I wanted Alonso Arise, Kaylee Jansen, and who else? Was there another one? No, that was the three. There was the three. I got Garcia, Kyle Schwarber, and who else? That's about it so far. But as long as we can infuse that talent, and at some point in the end of July, I look out the right field and I look out the left field and I see Gabe Raconis standing out there. Center field is Justin Crawford. Right field, I guess Garcia, whatever. Right. Third base, I look down the third base line. There's Aiden Miller patrolling third base. Right. Andrew Painter starting that day. Out in center is Justin Crawford. That's what I wanted. And that's the DNA change I was looking for. And that is a DNA change. So when Rob Thompson said that they've flipped over 20 to 25% of their roster, he's right. They have. But to play stupid and not know what running it back means, come on, don't do that to us. All right. You know what we meant by the core. Harper, Schwarber, Turner, JT. That's the core. And they're all coming back. So don't treat us like we're stupid. I hate that. But again, I'm not putting the Phillies down before they rise. I'm not. Or I'll rise. Luis Arise. See how I worked that in? So I just wanted to put that point out there about the Phillies. I wanted to make sure that you guys understood. Because remember this little graphic? This is MattyB's 2026 Phillies lineup. All right. Now you can scratch out Harrison Bader and put in Adolis Garcia. Right. But everything else is sort of still in play. Of course, Stotts is still here and Rise is not. But again, everything else is, and Lonzo's not here, but Schwarber is. So it pretty much is kind of what I wanted it to be. I'm okay. If Raconis makes this team, Crawford makes this team, at some point this summer we see Miller, Painter makes the team. They're doing exactly what I wanted. How can I complain about that? Because that, to me, is the secret of changing a team's DNA that has too many high-priced contracts, not enough money to go completely above the luxury tax, and try to stay competitive all at the same time. That was the way to do it, was to go internal and build from the youth. Now, we got spring training to play out, and we'll see exactly how far they take this young youth movement. I think you might be surprised. So there you go. That's my 2 cents about the Phillies. That's a point that I don't think anyone's really talking about. Everyone's still so butthurt over Bichette. We're not looking at the bigger picture. That's what I'm here to do, is provide the voice of reason. Again, if I'm providing the voice of reason, things have gone bad. They've gone really bad. But let's finish it up with my favorite segment of all. MattyB's card review is in the house. And tonight, I think we did yesterday we did 1991. Day before that was 1990, or it was 90 yesterday, 91. We're back in the modern era. We're back in the 21st century around this time. 2018 to be specific. Topps update series, card number US 202. What is that, you ask? Well, let's kind of set the battlefield, right? What is update? What is the update series? Well, the update series is the catch-all series for Topps baseball cards every year, sometime around the end of the year into the fall, September, late August, September-ish, October, early October-ish. Topps puts out the update series. And what the update series is to players that weren't part of this of your team earlier in the year when they did series 1 and 2 and got called up, got traded in, got traded out. Certain events that occurred during the season that weren't obviously happening when they put out series 1 and 2, like the All-Star game. The update series is a way for Topps to capture all that in card form. So essentially, Mick Abel is a good example. Mick Abel was part of series 2, I believe. I think he showed up in series 2 as a Philly because he pitched. Well, he got traded. Shows up in the update series as a Twin because they updated his card. They updated where he was playing for. You get the picture, right? So this card tonight is from the 2018 Topps update series, and it's from the insert that they did in the update series that year, featuring the home run derby or the All-Star card variant home run derby card. And it's a person we know and love, donning his former team's garb, and it is the Bryce Harper 2018 home run derby card from the 2018 Topps update series. God damn, does he not look about 30 years younger in this card? Anything with Bryce Harper's picture on it, especially when he's with the Nationals, is big time money. This card actually is sort of valuable. This 2018 card here. So I've seen it for about 60, 70 bucks. Pretty good for a card that's a base card. For a card that's nowhere near his rookie year, but it's an insert. It's the home run derby from 2018, and it's part of the Topps update series. The update series cards are generally more valuable than the series 1 or series 2 cards. And then when we get into the update Chrome series, now we're talking big time money. So, and they usually kind of end the season with a flair with the Topps update series Chrome set. Of course, you guys heard me talk about that. And as you know, with Topps in general, Series 1 2026 comes out February 12th. So for those of you that are looking to get into the card collecting kind of hobby this year, Topps Series 1 2026 comes out February 12th. Make sure you're checking your local stores for supplies. But this card, in the 2018 style that Topps did with no borders, the entire front of the card is the card, which I really like. I really, really like that one. They've done this with a few different years, and I like this motif. And of course, it's Bryce Harper looking like a young man, like a teenager. Those days have long gone for Mr. Harper, and this is his 2018 home run derby card. Again, a pretty valuable card for a base card and a 2018 Bryce Harper. And then again, if you come across anything with Bryce Harper's picture on it, whether it's in a Phillies uniform or a Nationals uniform, put it away. It's going to be worth some money. And I like this card. I really do. It is, again, I've seen it as a PSA 10, I think $150 somebody was trying to push it for. But you could probably move this in this variant right here as a base card, ungraded. You could probably get $60 for this card. There's somebody out there that would pay that for this card. And that's pretty damn good for an update series card. base from 2018. Bryce Harper insert home run derby. So again, pretty cool card. And here it is in its physical form right here. The back is just sort of a little summary of what he did that night and the home run derby in 2018. And there you have it. The Bryce Harper Update Series US 202 home run derby card. And that is our card of the night. And that's also going to take us to the end of another show here on the network. I want to thank everyone for participating. Again, thoughts and prayers out to our boy Ricky Deal as he recovers from stomach surgery, emergency stomach surgery. So please keep him in your thoughts and your prayers. Ricky, we hope to see you back on the airwaves soon. It is not the same without you. And to everyone else that chimed in and participated, I want to thank them. Again, let's real quick. This is our schedule. Tomorrow, I'll be back doing another kind of late night thing. I'll be doing the show at 9 and then coming back after the show to do some Clear the Ice as soon as the Flyers and the Mammoth game is over and everything else that's happening on the network this week. Please check us out. Give us a like, share, or subscribe. Help us grow. We've seen immense growth since, I would say, middle of December. I probably picked up 60 or so subscribers on YouTube since then. I want to thank everybody for that. Please keep us growing. And please check out the stuff we have to offer. You may not like me or may not respect my opinions, and it may not be your cup of tea. I've heard that a billion times from people, but you might find somebody on here that you do like. So keep watching until you come across that person, even though I'm on this damn thing literally every day. Well, not every day, but mostly every day. Maybe you'll grow to like me. I am like a fungus. I do have a tendency to grab on and grow on people. So make sure you're checking us out. And to those that were tuned in a couple days ago, there are still some Super Bowl squares left for my stepson's. Babe, you want to come in here real quick? Yeah, you want to come? You want to talk to them real quick? Would you like to talk to them real quick? Yeah, I'm on live, babe. You want to come in? Why not? You don't got to be on camera. You don't got to be on camera.
About what?
The squares.
Oh, my son, Burke, is selling squares for the Super Bowl. They're $20 a piece. It is to support his travel team that is 100% sponsored. There's no fees for the parents. They're just doing fundraisers and getting sponsors. So if you'd like to buy a square for $20, let Matt know, or you can let me know. I'm on Facebook under Nina Benarchek. Thank you.
So help us out. It's a good cause. This team is completely, as she said, sponsored. There's no fees to the kids or parents as this team is trying to go fully sponsored. So they're just trying to find a way to sponsor, raise money for the kids. So help us out. Help us help the kids out because it's all about the kids. All right, everybody. Have a great night. We'll talk tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your night. Stay warm. Stay inside. Throw an extra log on the fire for me. Take care.